Hey you guys, so for today's video I wanted to share with you how we managed to share a room with this little one and our toddler. So how we managed to share a room with a baby and a toddler. It was something I was like super stressed out about. I was just really not sure how this was going to work at all. I was in the mindset like each kid, like how are they going to sleep? Junie is really good at staying up late and playing and not going to sleep. I was really worried about it. I really wanted them to share a room, but I was just not sure how like logistically it was going to work. So I wanted to just share with you guys our experience, what we did, what worked for us, and that way if it's something you're interested in doing, then you can kind of just see how it worked for us and try out some of the things that we did, and good luck. So here's the thing, it's totally doable. I will tell you that, because I was actually completely surprised by how doable it was. It was not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be, which was so good because it's not always like that. But so here's kind of how we started out. We started out with talking to Juniper. We were telling her, hey, guess what? Tabor's getting older. He's gonna be sharing a room with you soon. It's gonna be your guys' room. That's gonna be so fun that you guys get to share a room. And we were super positive about it. Talked to her a lot about it before we made the transition. And Juniper was super receptive to it. She was really excited. She was really looking forward to it. She doesn't actually like to have like the room to herself. She doesn't like that. She gets a little bit scared sometimes. So she was really excited to be sharing a room. So she was super receptive. I'm not sure what would be different or how it would be different if she wasn't and she didn't want to share a room. That could maybe totally have changed the entire situation. I don't know. That just wasn't our experience. So we talked to Juniper first, and then when we were getting ready to make the switch, we actually made a video about this. We can link it up in the iCard so you can check it out. But we combed through the entire room to look for any choking hazards. So basically anything small, even close to being a choking hazard, it was taken out of the room and put up somewhere inaccessible for like a later time. So like if Juniper's having like quiet time, she can play with those small toys by herself without having to worry about it being a choking hazard for Tabor. I just knew that if I had my baby in the same room as my very active, crazy toddler, I needed to at least make sure there were no choking hazards. So we combed through, got rid of everything that we thought was even a potential. And then we kind of rearranged the room. We put the crib in, but we also set up a pack and play in our room where the crib was. So we had a pack and play in our room and the crib was in here. So that way we had an out. So if it really didn't work, we knew we could just take him and put him into our room in the middle of the night and not have to like do a whole like switch in the middle of the night. So set up the pack and play, comb through the room for choking hazards, and then we basically kept their night routines the same. So Tabor goes to bed earlier than Juniper, so I kind of did everything that he does, and then I put him into the crib in the shared room for the first time, and it was like fine. He didn't care. He went straight to bed because he was still like in his crib, in his space that he's used to, and he went straight to bed. So that I was like, okay, first step down. This is great. This is great. The hardest part was definitely when I had to then bring in Juniper into the room. So when it was Juniper's turn to go to bed, we did her entire like nighttime routine. And then we sat down and we made sure we went through the rules. We were like, okay, you're sharing a room now, so the rules are a little bit different. We're gonna be a lot more stricter on what it means to go to bed. Bedtime means in bed. If you're not ready to quite sleep yet, you have to stay in your bed, play quietly, look through your stories, but you have to stay in bed and you have to be quiet because you're sharing a room with Tabor. So we just kept drilling. Hi, Bubba. You coming to make the video with me? Hello, look at you in your Christmas pants. Are you ready for Christmas? Oh my goodness, you're like Let's just skip to the good parts. Let's just skip to the good parts. No, but they're all good, huh? They're all good. You're talking about showing a room. Yeah, big boy room, huh? So exciting. You like it, huh? Where are the books? Let's get you a book. So we really just drilled it into her, like what were the expectations, and explained to her why, you know, like Tabor needs to make sure he gets his sleep, so we have to be quiet. That's just the responsibility that comes with sharing a room. And, you know, she knew what was expected. But I will definitely say when we put her in, she was in bed. I like tucked her in, and then immediately it was like, oh, out of the bed, out of the bed. And it was kind of like, I gave her like a little bit of time because I knew she was super excited to be sharing a room with Tabor, and I wanted them to kind of have that moment. So they kind of like woke each other up and played and chatted for a little bit. But then I came in and I was like, okay, remember, we have to stay in bed. And it wasn't too bad. She pretty much got it, and she learned to stay in bed, and they both slept, and it was crazy. It was so crazy. I was like, they're sharing a room. It was amazing. So basically that I think is honestly the hardest part about them sharing a room, is just that transition of when Juniper comes into the room, because Tabor pretty much always wakes up when we come in, because sometimes Juniper purposely tries to wake him up, either like loud stomping or just being loud. That's probably the hardest part, and it's definitely the hardest part on like my patience, because I'm like, oh, he's asleep, you're waking him up. But Tabor has actually pretty well adjusted to it. He kind of just like peeks his head up and then just like lays back down, and he's a pretty good sleeper. So that's fine. I know they're gonna wake up. He wakes up and then he goes back to sleep, and it's fine. They both go to sleep. The other part I was super not sure how this was gonna work out and stressed about was Tabor crying. So like in the beginning, probably for the first like 2 weeks, maybe longer, as soon as Tabor cried, like his first little cry, I basically like booked it in. I booked it into the room because I did not want to have to deal with putting Tabor back to sleep and also putting Juniper back to sleep. So I like booked it in, grabbed him immediately, was so quiet, just like sitting in the dark in the room, nursing Tabor before I put him back to sleep in the crib, and then it was good. And unfortunately, during that time, Tabor was waking up still about 3 times a night. So that was probably the hardest part for me, because I was no longer just grabbing him from the crib that was in our room. I actually had to get up, walk to Juniper's room, which is super close, but still, it's like those extra steps in the middle of the night feel like an extra mile. It's a lot. So after that, I kind of got burnt out on it, and I kind of just started to see what would happen if I didn't book it in, and if they would have adjusted at that point, used to sleeping together. And Juniper doesn't wake up. And it blows my mind. It blows my mind. I don't know if she literally doesn't wake up or if she does, but she's just like, okay, whatever. Because we also did talk to her about that. We said, Tabor might cry in the middle of the night. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Mama's going to come in and get him. You just go back to sleep. So we did. We talked to her about that a lot too, so she kind of knew. But literally, she doesn't wake up. I can't remember how long they've been sharing a room together now. Exactly. It's definitely been a few months. Maybe 6 months. I'm not sure. It's been a while. I think she's woken up like maybe 2 or 3 times this entire time from Tabor crying. This entire time. So it's been amazing. She doesn't wake up to him crying, or she doesn't care. I'm not sure, but it's been amazing. It's actually been way easier than I thought. I will say probably my favorite perk, besides having my own room back with my husband, is that in the morning they play. So they wake up and they wake each other up. And usually, like if it was Tabor waking up, I'd have to go get him immediately from the crib, or put in a toy for him to play with. Or same with Juniper. Like she would knock on the door or she'd wake up. But basically, now that they're sharing a room, when they wake up, they play together for literally like an hour. It's amazing. It's amazing. So they wake up still really early, sometimes 5:30, sometimes 6, but then they still play until like 7. And it's amazing. So I'm up still doing things most of the time. Sometimes I'll try to sleep till 7. But not only does that give me like a little bit more extra time in the morning to get ready and do things, or to try to sleep in if I can, because 7 is sleeping in. I will say that sometimes in the morning I just get like anxious about how crazy they're getting in, because it just seems like they're just like being a little bit crazy when they're playing first thing in the morning. But Juniper knows she's only supposed to throw in soft toys in the crib for Tabor, and they've been playing together every morning for months and months and months. So it's really kind of cute that they're bonding. I love it so much. One more thing that we did when we were prepping the room for them to share was we put in both a video monitor and just normal baby monitors. So that way I had the audio playing the whole night, and as soon as there's like the tiniest sound, I swear, like my mom ears or my mom brain, even if I'm dead asleep, is like, oh, I'm awake, what was that? What was that? And then I can go and I can look on the video monitor and kind of like see what's going on. So that has really, really helped, versus just like the video monitor, I would have to be looking at it to see or hear it through just the house. So that was super, super reassuring and really helpful. That is kind of our experience. That's what we did. I'm gonna try to list out basically all of the things, since I kind of rambled. But so basically, like, we prepped Juniper, we talked to her about it, we talked to her about like the rules, the expectations, about Tabor crying. She was super excited about sharing a room. We prepped Juniper. We made sure there was no choking hazards in the room. We put in a video and normal baby monitor. We kind of let them figure it out and saw if they woke each other up in the middle of the night from Tabor crying, and it went okay, it went great. And we still kept their same normal bedtime routines and times, and they just kind of adjusted to that. So it's great, you guys. I love it. It's so nice that they're sharing a room. I think it's really good for them, and it's amazing for us because we live in just a little 2-bedroom house. So everyone has a little bit, it's like kid space, adult space. It's great. So that's it, you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Definitely go to my Instagram, send me any DMs if you have any questions, because usually comments are off on YouTube videos on our channel for some reason. But I'm happy to answer any of your questions if you go to my Instagram account and send them to me there. So good luck if you're going through this, or if you know someone who is, definitely send them this video. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our videos, and we'll see you in our next one. Be where your feet are. Bye.